Lords, we haven't yet heard from the noble Lady Baroness Walmsley, but I will rise briefly to speak in opposition to the amendments, particularly 175 and 179, just introduced by the noble Lord Kamal. And I think it's worth starting from the point of view that the powers to extend smoke-free places in England, were this amendment to be passed, would be less than the powers in the devolved nations. As smoking prevalence continues to fall, there is clearly, obviously, going to be an ongoing open discussion that appraises the evidence on smoke-free extensions and how best to expect to protect public health and workers' rights. Now, the government had originally indicated in August 2024, well, actually indicated, apparently it was leaked, that it was going to extend these powers when bringing back the bill. There was then a backlash against that, and the government U-turned and said the consultation would only focus on schools, playgrounds and hospitals. I think that's disappointing, but I think what we don't want to do is close down the opportunities and the options that are available in this bill for the future. And if we think about some of the other places that might be very high priority areas and we can well imagine in the future, one of those areas is beaches, where we can very often see real experience with big problems with litter, where there's lots of very often small children on certain sorts of beaches, where people have an expectation of fresh air. That's kind of one of the reasons why you go to the seaside. Secondly, there are places where exposure to second-hand cigarette smoke can be particularly high. One example might be, for example, transport hubs. I think we can all think of other places where there is real issues, and we want to keep open the possibility of further extension. Finally, I'd make the point that actually our understanding of the impacts of so-called passive smoking, second-hand cigarette smoke, or actually our medical understanding is growing all the time, increasing all the time, and it's only heading in one direction. I note, for example, that a major veterinary provider just in the last week has told pet owners to be really aware of the impact of both passive cigarette smoke and also vaping on pets. Now, that's the kind of area in which our understanding just keeps growing and growing, the impacts. And so we really should not be closing down the possibilities of this bill.